Andre the Giant. How amazing genetics make life impossible.
Andre the Giant's size gave
by SunnyV2.
Andre the Giant's size gave him everything.
The largest.
How big? How big? How big? How big?
Andre the Giant's size gave him every
7'4"? Wow. Wow. I can't even imagine being 520 pounds.
everything.
The largest and highest paid and best known wrestler in the entire world.
Once being listed by the Guinness Book of Records as the highest paid wrestler ever. These same genetics, however, made...
You know, I always thought he was a legend when I first heard his name, Andre the Giant. I genuinely thought he was a legend and wasn't even real. Like, that's how his name sounds like. I was like, Andre, that sounds like a mythical creature. You know? Mythical creature.
His life a living hell, with Andre famously stating, "I would give much money to be able to spend 1 day per week as a man of regular size." When he was born, Andre already weighed 13 pounds or 6 whole kilos, which is almost double the average male baby, weighing...
Your mom was stressed. I'm sorry, what? Your mom was stressed pushing you out, nigga. Stressed. Jakob and Yona were like, they were big. They were like 10, 11 pounds. Doc was like, nah, they're big. You got some big babies. 13 pounds?
Need to be the top donor now that Yidi disappeared.
His mom, like, bro, I know he was killing her back, bro.
Pounds or 6 whole kilos, which is almost double the average male baby, weighing 3.3 kilos or 7.5 pounds. Growing up, Andre played soccer, with his childhood friends stating he used to be the goalie, but the ball would never go in because he was so big. By the age of 12, Andre was 6'3" and 240 pounds or 108 kilos.
As I started going to school, I was bigger than all the kids.
He was too big to fit on the local school bus, and his family didn't have the money to buy a car that could deal with his weight. As a result, Andre left school to work on the farm, where...
Wait, no, what? No. I had to drop out because I was too big for the school. I had to drop out, I was too big for the bus. And this fat ass couldn't fit in the car. What? That's just unfortunate, man. That's just so unfortunate. Bro, there's not shit you can do about that. It's like, yeah, bro, I'm just like, can't fit on the bus. Parents can't afford a new car. If I was just a little bit smaller.
That could deal with his weight. As a result, Andre left school to work on a farm, where one day a friend of the farm's owner drove slowly past the field in a Rolls Royce. "I will own such a car as that someday," Andre said quietly. "Stop dreaming and start raking," his father replied. "You are a big boy, but that dream is too big even for you."
I said to my dad, someday I will get a car like this. And he said, quit dreaming and keep walking.
According to his brother, Andre did the farm work of 3 different men and would drive an unregistered car as the cops wouldn't dare to stop him. When he tried to join the military,
Andre was deemed unfit for service as there were no shoes big enough, bunks long enough, or trenches deep enough to accommodate him.
Yet these same...
Makes sense. But like, I think you'd want him on the battlefield, would you not? Would you not want him on the battlefield? Like, this freaking giant just coming through like a juggernaut?
issues made him a wrestling sensation. He'd officially become
I guess he found his calling, so it doesn't matter.
famous televised wrestler, but more notably had grown so much, his own parents didn't recognize him when he came back home.
My parents, there was a big fan of me, they saw me on TV, but they don't know.
They didn't know it was you.
My parents were a fan and they didn't know it was you.
No, because I changed my name.
At over 7 foot tall and 500 pounds or 227 kilos,
What?
Andre saw a doctor to figure out why he'd grown so much. Acromegaly was the diagnosis, a rare 1 in 12,000 brain tumor causing the body to produce excessive growth hormone. It leads to extra large hands, feet, and fingers, as well as a bigger jaw, nose, lips, and tongue. According to Ripley's Believe It or Not, his fingers were so big around that the ring he wore had an opening that could easily fit a silver dollar, which is 38.1 mil. To put the size into perspective, the average man's finger is around 10 to 11 mil around. This could be seen in interviews like
That's a big
this.
boy.
This is his ring, and
That's
I
a
kid you
big
not,
boy.
I can get all three fingers
That's a
in
big
that
boy.
ring.
With people on Reddit adding, favorite fact is that Andre was so large, he could push a hard-boiled egg through his wedding ring. My wife met him once and instead of a handshake, she said she could only shake one of his fingers. These elements made him so unique that when doctors offered to remove his tumor, Andre bluntly
said no?
refused.
He decided that he didn't want treatment at that time because he thought it would interfere with his career as a wrestler.
He'd state, if this is the
What?
size that God wanted me to be, I'm going to be this size.
I use what God gave me. I'm not supernatural. I just myself. So what God gave me, I use it to make a living.
However,
That's
this gave him a
insane.
short life expectancy.
Yeah.
The commissioned doctors at Madison Square Garden told me
I get like that. Like I guess so, right? Like it, kind of like, bro. I'm using my gifts to my. Why would I want to take that away? But even if you're dying, right? Maybe that's just. I guess that's just true belief. Like even if you're dying, it's like, nah, bro. This is how long I was supposed to live. Period. Is that too deep of a conversation right now?
Short life expectancy.
the commissioned doctors at Madison Square Garden told me he's going to be lucky to live to be 40.
And meant he'd keep on growing until the day he'd die. By the time he'd join the
I don't know if they would talk about it, but upon his death, one of his good friends, I don't know who they were, got his body phones with the U.S. to get his body cremated because the ones in the U.K. were too small. He did it on Andre's wishes as he wanted to be cremated. Damn, boy, yeah.
WWE, Andre had
Too
reached
small for the
7'4", peaking at 560 pounds or 225 kilos.
What size boot is that, Andre?
It's 22, size 22.
Take a look at that along my size 9.
This made him the most successful wrestler ever,
Without a doubt, Andre was the most famous wrestler in the world.
yet it
Andre
also
the
continued
Giant.
to make his life harder.
It's difficult
I'm going
everywhere
to touch
I
you.
go. They don't believe
Parker, shut up.
anything for big people. They build everything for blind people, for crippled people, for some other people, but not for big people.
Andre was constantly visiting new cities,
The nature of your job, you're traveling all the time, aren't you? Like 320 nights a year.
Yes.
which came with its own set of challenges.
Hotel beds, are they a problem?
And twice before
Hell
I walk,
yeah.
I already got a king size bed. The worst is when I go in Japan, all those cars are so small.
Sure.
Yeah, being this big life is just really fucking unfortunate. I'm just imagining that everywhere you go is just an issue, bro. Nowadays, probably not, because so many basketball players are this big, but like,
Lucky about to be my 13th reason.
right? So many basketball players are this big, but fuck. Like, everything would just be unfortunate, man. Sitting on a public toilet? Nah, basketball players are not this big still. I'm lying. Sitting on a public toilet? Fuck. This is like the worst equivalent of having a massive dick. I don't think a massive dick is as big of a thing as you think it is, bro. Like I think 6 to after like 8 inches, you're bugging. Like you're just gonna injure somebody. That's gonna be painful. You know, it's gonna be really painful. But yeah, that's true. Who would even want to sleep with him? He might crush you.
Even in a hotel, I can go through the door, I can go to the bathroom, everything is so smart.
Andre was too large to fit inside most
In
cars.
cars? I wish I had issues with having a big car. Oh, he has a wife. Nice.
Traveling with a car, I need 2 cars.
That's right. You can't even get in it.
There is nowhere for the giant to live anymore.
Yeah, that's true. Well, you can put one car in each foot.
Taking a taxi wasn't a better alternative.
Funny story, one time we couldn't get a taxi because he was so big.
And when they finally got one, Andre was charged extra.
We ask him how much he is, and we see the counter, he charges double. So you're a big guy, you have to pay double.
It seems that flying was Andre's only
Makes sense,
option,
though.
where he'd have to book the entire exit row.
Makes sense,
However,
though.
thankfully, he was able to fix this problem.
What about
Barker
plane travel? Does
115
that get
sheet.
old after a while? Awful?
I go in first class, but I don't think mine was it.
Despite this costing an absolute fortune,
I'm traveling so much. Last year, I bought for $67,000 just an airplane ticket.
there was still another even bigger flying problem. Andre couldn't fit inside the toilet. He therefore
Yeah,
had to
bro, that's
relieve
gotta
himself prior to
suck.
boarding.
Andre would always time it so that he would take a dump before.
But it was like a
going to the
12-hour
airport.
But in one
flight.
notable instance, he forgot to
12-hour flights are actually awful, bro, because people really do be shitting after every meal, bro. You go into the bathroom, there's just doo-doo stains everywhere, man. On that flight to Ethiopia, there's just doo-doo stains in the bathroom. I was like, come on, man. Imagine how big his dookie would be. That's true, too. He's clogging that, baby. He's clogging that, baby, right there. And no one else is coming in after. Not a soul.
go beforehand.
He's up in first class and he tells them, I gotta go. And they're like, oh my God, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do?
The onboard solution wasn't exactly glamorous.
He would relieve himself into a bucket and then they bring it in and dump it into the toilet.
But in retrospect,
yeah, fuck that. Fuck that. Fuck that.
He would relieve himself into a bucket and then they bring it in and dump it into the toilet.
But in retrospect, the story's pretty funny.
The smell that started coming out, there was people falling out of their seats almost into the aisles, puking, crying, screaming.
Sadly, this didn't only apply to planes.
Where does he shit?
In the bathtub.
No.
Yeah, there's no toilet gonna take his ass.
And with monumental
Why does motherfucker Ducky hide in the shadows? Relax, bro. I ain't got no light right now, man.
bells came monumental farts.
It sounded like, like a deep roar kind of like thing. In the bathtub.
Screaming.
Sadly, this didn't only apply to planes.
Where does he shit?
In the bathtub.
No.
Yeah, there's no toilet gonna take his ass.
And with monumental bells came monumental farts.
It
Nigga
sounded
shitting in the
like,
bathtub?
like a deep roar kind of like thing. It would rumble.
On the set of Princess Bride, this actually halted production.
He lets out the most monumental fart. The whole plywood set was shaking, and the sound guy lifted his headphones off his ears and was doing that, and it went on for, somebody timed it was 16 seconds.
While Andre's former wrestling opponents thought the wind,
because it's gotta come all through his fucking body, like it's just so much in there, so much fart. Damn, that would feel so good. Like just exiting from you low key, that fart shooting from your booty hole would you probably feel like you just lost 1,000 pounds. That's true. You know when you take a good doo-doo and you feel like you lost mad weight? That's probably what his poop still feel like that, but his farts would probably feel like that for us.
lasted even longer.
And I could feel my fucking shoulder just vibrate like. You know how long a giant can fart?
The dude spamming was ball busting
40 seconds.
Andre was so different to everybody else, it got to the point of public ridicule. Hulk Hogan explained when we'd walk through the airports, if he got ahead of me, I'd hear all the unkind things that people would say. Oh my God, look at that guy. It would just break my heart.
They perceived him as a freak of nature, and that hurt Andre more
Makes
than
sense.
anything. This guy was very sensitive. Boss, sometimes they laugh at me, they point at me. It hurts my feelings. You never think a guy like that would cry, but he would cry.
Andre stated in an interview, I would give much money to be able to spend one day per week as a man of regular size. I would shop and I would go to the cinema and drive around in a sports car and walk down Fifth Avenue and stare at the other people for a change. Disguising himself in public simply wasn't possible.
Muhammad Ali couldn't put on a
downsides of
trench
things,
coat and a
man,
ball
for
cap.
sure.
Andre the Giant couldn't hide in the backseat of a car.
Instead opting to numb himself completely.
He never, ever, ever quit drinking. He drank from the time he got up to the time he went to bed. If he could figure out a way, he just done it in his sleep.
While Andre's drinking feats are often highly romanticized, there's no denying he had a serious problem.
He started drinking about 9 o'clock in the morning. He drank I'm not exaggerating, 20 bottles of new Beaujolais.
Doing so to cope with his difficult life.
He drank because he was in pain. His spine and his neck and his knees gave him a lot of trouble.
He drinks 6 bottles of wine before.
That's so unfortunate, man. I was so hyped in the beginning because he was like, man, it's a gift from God, right? And I was like, bro, he really just decided to live with it. But then drinking and...
Dude, can you stop screwing around? You almost got me banned in Zero, and Andrew came through for me like absolute G's.
But then, damn near, hating your life damn near by the end, saying, honestly, fuck it. I'm tired of this shit. I'm just going to drink from morning to night so I don't have to feel this. It's not worth it. You know? It's not worth it.
Not you, Ducky. I'm talking to Bowbuster.
Guys, please be quiet with the biddies, bro. Like, not during, you know? Like, I think both of you just need some time off. You know? That's why short niggas like you, Ducky, live better lives. Hey, bro, sign up. Short Kings over here. 5 10s and below. 5 10s and below. You want to be on this side.
Every wrestling match, with Jake the Snake explaining that Andre once drank 48 beers in a single car trip.
Wow.
2 cases of beer and did not have to piss. How can you do that?
Wow. Compared to a different night.
Is it true that you, in one sitting, drank 117 beers?
Yes.
Were you drunk at the end of that?
I don't remember. I think I passed out.
With Andre's unofficial record being 156 beers in one sitting, which fellow wrestlers Dusty Rhodes and Michael Hayes confirmed. However, this only added extra weight onto his body.
I myself
can't wrestle like that, huh?
Night, drink 7,000 calories worth of alcohol,
which seemed to be the primary motive for why he eventually quit.
But you don't drink anymore?
Not since 14 months ago I quit.
You feel better for not drinking?
Yeah, because when I was drinking beer, I used to weigh 560 pounds.
And you've trimmed down now to?
Right now, I'm 470.
This led to the infamous Andre the Giant vs. Hulk Hogan, after which his career was basically over. When he next came to a match, Andre was using crutches, showing the decline of his physical health. He'd retire to a ranch in North Carolina until he flew back to France for his father's funeral. He'd take this photo after the ceremony without realizing that 3 days later, Andre himself would die of a heart attack.
I'd like to announce the death of one of my favorite wrestlers and one of the most famous wrestlers of all time. He died this week in Paris, France, after going home to his father's funeral.
His body was too large to fit in any French crematorium, and as a result, he was shipped back to the USA. His ashes weighed 17 pounds or almost 8 kilos.
17 pounds of ashes is nuts in itself. 17 pounds?
Back to the USA. His ashes weighed 17 pounds or almost 8 kilos, being just another reason he's remembered as a legend.
That's a freaking, yeah, that's a real life giant, dude.